On the cartoon controversy, he writes in part, quote, "I'm far more hateful than Pamela Geller. In fact, I'd argue there's no way that she could hate jihad more than I do. I've seen jihad up close in an Iraqi province where jihadists raped women to shame them into becoming suicide bombers, where they put bombs on little boys' backpacks, then remotely detonated them at the family gatherings, where they beheaded innocent civilians while cheering wildly like they were at a soccer match, and where they shot babies in the face to send a message." Joining me now is the man who wrote that powerful column, Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran and National Review staff writer, David French. David, thanks for joining us. So you heard Pamela Geller weigh in. Where are you on this? Do you feel her pain? Do you feel this?
You know, it is astonishing to me that we're having thousands and thousands of words of commentary after a woman is nearly killed with all of her friends and supporters, and that commentary is focusing on whether or not she talks about these genocidal jihadists with enough nuance. It makes no sense whatsoever. There is no way to conform our lives in a manner that pleases the jihadists unless we adopt the exact same brand of Sunni Islam that they espouse, and I mean the exact same brand. So it makes no sense whatsoever.
You know, I read your piece, and I recommend everyone read your piece. It's really provocative. It's strong. It's powerfully worded. It's provocative. In one of the lines you say, "In a sane world, our leaders should rally around free speech." And Pam Geller, how are our leaders failing us?
Well, they're failing us because the message should be very, very clear. We protect our own. We don't blame the victim. If you come after our own citizens on our own land to try to defeat free speech, to try to destroy fundamental constitutional values, this is what will happen to you. What will happen to you is what happened in Garland, Texas, where a brave hero cop stopped these terrorists in their tracks. We should be holding that up as a model of American free speech and a model of the way to protect the Constitution, rather than now tripping all over ourselves to apologize for Pamela Geller. It's astonishing.
Do you think the FBI should have given Pam Geller and or her group, her event, a little notice if they had 3-hour notice?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a no-brainer. But it even goes deeper than that. Let's not forget that Elton Simpson was prosecuted in a botched prosecution, a terribly botched prosecution, accused of trying to head to Somalia to join terrorists. The prosecutor botched the prosecution by failing to put forward sufficient evidence, and then the judge actually failed to find in favor of the prosecution, believing that when Simpson talked about going to the battlefield in Somalia, it wasn't sufficiently clear to her what he meant by battlefield or what he meant by fighting. Well, now we know.
FBI Director James Comey said that there are thousands of radicalized Americans. How many Elton Simpsons are out there right now?
You know, that's the thing, that we don't have any way of knowing that right now, and that's why we're missing the forest for the trees. We're spending all of this time talking about whether Pamela Geller is nuanced enough and uses exactly the right words to describe jihadists, when what this tells us is we've had our first ISIS-inspired terror attack, and ISIS is promising more. We should be focusing on that right now and sending a clear message that we protect our own, we rally around our own, not that we try to destroy our own in the court of public opinion.
Now, there are those that say Pamela Geller overstepped the line. Yeah, there's free speech, it's protected, but at some point free speech becomes hate speech or fighting words.
Look, somebody is always thinking that someone else stepped over the line. That's what happens in a pluralistic society. We have robust discussion. People will say things that offend others. No one has a right not to be offended. All of this is incredibly elementary. It's incredibly basic. But you know what's happening here is a lot of people fear the jihadists, and what they believe is that if we only create the perfectly politically correct society, they'll move along and focus on someone else. That's not the case at all. They will attack us and continue to attack us until we conform to their ideology.
This is going to be a little bit a curveball, a tough question for you. Let's see how you feel this one. What do you think about the Westboro Baptist Church protesting in front of a soldier's funeral? Or a couple of weeks ago, we had on one of the college universities campuses some people trampling the flag, and a fighter pilot, a female fighter pilot, was arrested for trying to stop that.
Look, I have been to military funerals where people who are very, very dear to me were buried. And you know what happens when those protesters show up? Americans answer bad speech with better speech. It is incredibly moving and powerful to see the Patriot Guard Freedom Riders line up as far as the eye can see to support our fallen heroes. That's how you answer bad speech with better speech.
Amen, brother. I would absolutely agree with that. Bad speech with stronger speech, not necessarily bringing two jihadists with a gun. I agree with you 100%. Thank you for your service, by the way.